kayo po ay patuloy na nakikinig sa 91.1 FM CMS, ito po sa ating Radyo Filipino program. At ang susunod na bahagi ng ating programa ay isang panayam sa ating kababayan mula sa Western Australia. Siya po ay si Cielo Franklin. Si Cielo Franklin ay talagang napakahusay na community person na kababayan natin. Siya ay siyang secretary ng Filipino Communities Council sa Western Australia. Siya ang nagmamanage ng Tagalog School of Perth. At siya rin, bago lang ito, talagang napakahusay, active member siya. At talagang siya sa mga bumuo ng PETA sa WA. Alam natin, ang PETA ay isang talagang kinikilangan lang parang institution na rin sa atin. Hindi ba pagdating sa theater arts, ang gaganda, ang galing nila.
Ano pala natin siya, ma'am? Kamukha natin na language teachers.
Oo.
Meron din pala doon.
Talagang yan, para sa ating community doon sa Perth, na talagang tens of thousands, mga 30,000 Filipinos yata ang nasa Perth na nakatira, nagtatrabaho, mga citizens. So, oo. Kaya yan po, syempre kailangan ng mga community activities para mapagsama-sama ang mga Pilipino.
Nakaka-inspire ang
ganyang mga bagay.
Yan, tumutulong at malaking ginhawa para sa ating mga kababayan.
Totoo yan. Narito po si Cielo Franklin na ating kababayan. May matutunan tayo sa kanyang mga karanasan at mga ginagawa doon sa Perth. Si Cielo Franklin.
This is Gloria Ross from Radyo Filipino, Australia, and I'm speaking with Miss Cielo Franklin, who holds 3 very important community roles in Western Australia. Cielo is the president of the Philippine Educational Theatre Artists of Western Australia, or PETAWA, the manager of the Tagalog School of Perth, and the secretary of the Filipino Community Council of Western Australia. Cielo, it is an honor to have you in our Radio Filipino program. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, Gloria, for this opportunity. It is an honor for me as well. And good morning to all your listeners in Radyo Filipino, Australia.
Cielo, first, could you tell us about the activities of the Filipino Community Council of WA and how it represents different Filipino groups in Perth and WA, or Western Australia?
So first of all, FCCWA, as we call it, it's like our state Filipino community. So it's similar to all the other states, like FCC New South Wales. We are like the umbrella body of all the Filipino groups here in WA. So if there is any information, it comes through us, and then we pass it on to the others. If there's an issue from someone, then they can come to us and we can organize something and help them. It makes all the Filipino groups also as one. You know, it sort of unites us because our aim is to help each other. So, for example, our recent event, which is in coordination with the Gawad Kalinga Australia, we organized the Gawad Kalinga Youth Ambassador. And so we search for young people between 18 and 27 years old to join, and all of them were able to go back to the Philippines just last January to experience themselves what it is like to be there and to actually see the people they're helping when you donate money to Gawad Kalinga. So that was a real eye-opener for these youth. And so, like I said, that's a Gawad Kalinga project, but FCCWA helped them. And so we encourage all the Filipino groups, associations here in WA to participate, and they all had their own ambassadors. And then in the future, so this coming year, we are looking at having a Miss FCCWA. Details will be mentioned later on.
Great causes indeed. Cielo, many Filipinos here in Australia would be greatly pleased to know that their beloved PETA, the Philippine Educational Theatre Artist, has arrived in Australia, and it is in Perth under your guidance. Do you know if PETA is also alive in other parts of Australia?
I believe there is one in Sydney, because our artistic director, Benito Chan Jr., he actually lived in Sydney many years ago. And so I think they started something there, But then he's been here now in Perth for some time now. In 2014, this Petawa, as we call it, was born. And so now we are encouraging everyone to showcase their talents, because usually when you go to musicals or stage plays, they're all the mainstream, you know. We don't have a Filipino theater. So this one allows us to show what we can do, and that we can show them that we can also do this. And we're not only good in singing, as everyone knows, you know, with Australian Idol, for example, and X Factor and all those competitions. You know how Filipinos always win. But like I said, singing is not the only thing that we can do. We can also do other things. We can do dance, we can do acting.
Was it hard to get together? What was your journey like towards your creation of PETA in Western Australia?
It actually started with a group of friends. And being friends, we have the same interests. And so when Benito or Nitoy basically brought up the idea of starting this, everyone just agreed, and no problem with that. Everyone just put in their, you know, foot forward and said, yes, I'm going to do this and we're going to cooperate. And so Petawa was born. Like I said, that was 2014. Last year, 2015, we had our very first stage production. It was called The Life with Mamai. It's basically a chamber orchestra sort of stage wherein it's about a person living with an older person, in this case, his mother, with dementia. And so it talked about what's it like, you know, the realities and the problems as well. This year, we're having our very first anniversary stage production, and it's called It's Time to Go. Again, it's concentrating on 4 older women and their journeys, like how did they get here to Australia, what were their problems they encountered and is still happening, and their look on death, because It's Time to Go, it was originally from the Big Brother show, you know, it's time to go, and then they get rid of one person. Well, this one, it's sort of like death, saying it's time to go, and then he calls out the next person who's about to die. So it's a little bit sad in a way, but it's also full of funny moments. So, medyo ano siya, comedy drama.
And when are you going to present It's Time to Go?
It will be shown on the 14th of May, that's a Saturday, at the Bob Daniel Community Center at 895 Beaufort Street, Inglewood. And like I mentioned, there will be 4 women in the play. So one of them is myself, and the others are Cielo Waghorn, another Cielo, Cecil Orchard, and Rowena Nofel. There will also be a special role from a Filipino actor coming from Manila, Cedric Nicomedes. And like I said, this is a play written and directed by Nitoy himself.
I'm sure everyone will be really pleased about PETA in Western Australia, and I'm sure they'll be hoping that they will have that too in their respective states or territories, Cielo. And of course, as PETA is in the Philippines, here in Australia, it will prevail in providing a Filipino flavor dimension into the creative learning experiences of people in Australia, to enrich and empower people's lives, I'm sure. And Cielo, you also manage the Tagalog School of Perth. Tell us about this.
Well, Tagalog School of Perth was born basically from my kids' needs to learn Tagalog. So they grew up not learning Tagalog, mainly because I was working full-time at that time that they were growing up. And when I get home, my husband being Australian, it's easier for me to speak in English, and so the kids were brought up in English. But I can see the need, and I've always thought that if only there's a school here in Perth where I can take them, then they will have some kind of instruction on how to learn from the basic until they progress to being fluent. But because, like I said, right from the start, I couldn't find anyone teaching here in Perth. So in early 2013, that's when I seriously thought that maybe I can do it. By this time, I wasn't working full-time anymore. And so I did a lot of research, and I thought, I think I can. And being involved in the Filipino community here, I've been accepting a lot of challenges, which I've never done before, and this was one of them. So when I put myself into deciding, yes, I'm going to do it, I eventually started on July of that year, 2013. And I saw how many Australian men married to Filipino women were really serious and wanting to learn Tagalog as well. And I really wasn't expecting that. I was expecting more of the kids based on my own experience. But it was actually more of the husbands who were interested. A little bit of the class were also the adult kids. So by this time, they're in their 20s or 30s, and some of them might have a girlfriend or boyfriend that are also Filipinos who speak the language or Tagalog. Or some of them have been just married, and now they have kids as well, and the kids are also growing up learning how to speak Tagalog, and now they're being left out. So now they want to learn. And very few of them are actually businessmen. So they have some kind of business in the Philippines, and they've been going back there a lot. And they thought that, well, if we're going to do business here, then they might as well learn the language. And I think that is really good, because we all know that a lot of Filipinos speak English fluently, but these men or business people, they do take the time and effort to learn our language. They don't have to, but they do, and I'm really happy when I hear stories like that.
Wow, very admirable indeed, Cielo. All these big roles, Filipino Community Council, PETA, and Tagalog School, those are big, big commitments, and by the sounds of it, you have really embraced all those commitments. Good luck on all those. And lastly, Cielo, what do you think are the best things about living in Perth?
I think Perth is a very beautiful place, beautiful weather. I guess one of the first things we noticed when we got here is there's not a lot of traffic. And everyday life, that actually is a big thing for us, because usually when you have the traffic, you're stressed. So over here, we're not stressed at all. We're all relaxed people, and everything is just beautiful. So what else can we ask for?
Wow. Yes, indeed, I agree. Perth is a beautiful place, a beautiful state of Australia. So Filipinos are lucky over there, and of course all the others who are living in that beautiful multicultural place. We'll leave it there, Cielo. Cielo Franklin, on behalf of Radio Filipino Australia, thank you so much for participating in this interview. It has been a privilege. Thank you, Cielo.
Thank you so much, Gloria.
And thank you po, Ma'am Clay.
Yan po, si Cielo
Galing.
Franklin.
Cielo. Ayan.